Japan's alliance with the US is legendary, but what if this relationship, solid since World War II, was on the brink of a seismic shift? What if one man's vision threatens to rewrite that legacy? Is Japan finally ready to break free? Let's examine the bold moves of Shigeru Ishiba and what they mean for the future of global power. Shigeru Ishiba isn't just any politician. He's a firebrand with a vision that challenges decades of post-war dependency. Known for his unapologetic stance on defense and autonomy, Ishiba has positioned himself as the face of a potential revolution in Japanese politics. According to the Japan Times, Ishiba recently stated, "The time has come for Japan to take full responsibility for its security, independent of outside influence. The stakes are massive. For 70 years, Japan's defense policies have been built on American military backing, from the nuclear umbrella to the 50,000 U.S. troops stationed on Japanese soil." But Ishiba's rhetoric suggests that this long-standing alliance could soon change. But why now? What's driving Ishiba to challenge one of the world's most established alliances? Ishiba's skepticism about U.S. reliability isn't baseless. Recent global events, from the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan to shifting priorities under successive American administrations, have left allies like Japan questioning Washington's long-term commitment. In a 2023 interview with Nikkei Asia, Ishiba said, "Japan cannot depend on a partner whose interest may shift overnight. We must stand on our own 2 feet." His vision: a Japan that doesn't wait for Washington's approval, but acts decisively in its own interests. Polls show that 41% of Japanese citizens share his concerns about over-reliance on the U.S., according to Asahi Shimbun. Ishiba's rise reflects a growing sentiment that Japan's security must be self-determined. But could this shift mean leaving behind Japan's pacifist principles? Japan's constitution, specifically Article 9, renounces war as a means of settling disputes. For decades, this clause has been the cornerstone of Japan's identity, but Ishiba believes it's outdated. He's pushing for constitutional revisions that would enable Japan to engage in collective self-defense fully. In a recent debate, Ishiba argued, "Our pacifism should not render us defenseless in an increasingly dangerous world." His words resonate with younger Japanese voters, 52% of whom, according to Mainichi Shimbun, support revising Article 9. Who's backing Ishiba in this bold mission? And how could it reshape Japan's military identity? Please like and subscribe. Your support helps us grow. Thank you. Ishiba isn't acting alone. His coalition includes hardline defense advocates who view Japan's pacifist stance as a liability. Together, they've rallied support for record-breaking defense budgets, including a proposed $50 billion allocation for 2024, a 10% increase from last year. Dr. Narushige Michishita, a defense policy analyst, told The Diplomat, "Ishiba's coalition represents a shift in Japanese politics toward a more assertive and militarized identity. It's a response to regional threats like North Korea and China. But this militarization comes with risks. Could it alienate Japan from its neighbors or even its allies? How far is Ishiba willing to go in asserting Japan's independence? And does that include nuclear capabilities?" Japan's reliance on America's nuclear umbrella has been a key deterrent against regional threats. However, Ishiba has hinted at a controversial possibility: Japan managing its own nuclear responsibilities. While he stopped short of advocating for nuclear weapons, even the suggestion has sparked debate. In an interview with the Washington Post, Ishiba said, "Japan's survival may depend on its ability to take ownership of its defense, even in areas we've traditionally avoided." This idea has divided public opinion, with 35% expressing strong opposition in a Kyoto News poll. Could Ishiba's ambitions extend beyond Japan's borders, reshaping alliances in Asia? Ishiba envisions an Asian NATO, a coalition of like-minded nations working together for regional stability. Think South Korea, India, and Vietnam joining forces, not under America's leadership, but Japan's. Takashi Kawakami, a professor at Takushoku University, wrote in The Diplomat, "An Asian NATO would be a game changer, reducing dependency on the US and creating a new balance of power in the region." But could this idea gain traction, or would it provoke opposition from China and Russia? How does Ishiba plan to redefine Japan's military role while still collaborating with the US? One of Ishiba's most ambitious proposals involves stationing Japanese troops on American bases, but under Japanese command. He argues that this would enhance Japan's operational control while maintaining the strategic benefits of US collaboration. Retired General Katsutoshi Kawano told Nikkei Asia, "This model would set a precedent for greater autonomy without severing ties with the US entirely." However, this proposal has already raised eyebrows in Washington. Is Ishiba setting the stage for a diplomatic rift? Could Japan's push for autonomy strain its relationship with the US over nuclear strategy? The nuclear umbrella provided by the United States has been the cornerstone of Japan's security strategy for decades. Ishiba's willingness to discuss Japan managing its nuclear responsibilities signals a potential shift that could ripple across the region and beyond. This idea doesn't mean outright nuclear armament, but the possibility of Japan holding greater sway over its nuclear strategy is enough to alarm Washington. According to the Washington Post, a senior Pentagon official, speaking anonymously, remarked, "If Japan starts questioning the nuclear umbrella, it sends the wrong message to both allies and adversaries. It signals instability in an already volatile region. For Ishiba, it's about ensuring Japan's survival." In his words, from a Nikkei Asia feature, "We can't keep relying on the benevolence of another nation's policies. If we are to be taken seriously on the global stage, we need to take responsibility for our own security, even nuclear deterrence." This shift could create tension with Washington as the US views Japan's role as pivotal in maintaining its dominance in the Asia-Pacific. But Ishiba's argument that Japan must be prepared to stand alone if necessary highlights a broader question. Could this be the catalyst for Japan taking the lead in shaping Asia's security landscapes? Ishiba's coalition is more than just a political bloc. It's a symbol of a larger movement. For decades, Japan has operated as the loyal junior partner in its alliance with the United States. But Ishiba's rhetoric, supported by a growing base of defense hawks, indicates that this era might be coming to an end. A recent editorial in The Economist noted, "Ishiba's rise signals a critical juncture in Japan's post-war identity. If his coalition gains traction, we could see a Japan that doesn't just follow the US lead, but actively shapes the geopolitical agenda of the region." This is about more than defense. Ishiba's coalition is pushing for Japan to lead on everything from trade agreements to technological advancements. Their message is clear. Japan is no longer content to be second to anyone, not even the United States. But can Japan lead without alienating its most critical ally? Ishiba's vision of leadership goes beyond military power. It's about reshaping the region's economic and political order. His proposed policies, such as strengthening ties with India and ASEAN nations, could position Japan as the hub of a new Asian-led coalition. But this ambition comes with risks. The United States has long been the guarantor of stability in Asia, and any challenge to its dominance could provoke a backlash. According to a 2024 report by Reuters, U.S. policymakers are watching Ishiba closely, with one official stating, "If Japan attempts to lead Asia without us, it changes the balance of power completely." Could this bold move leave Japan isolated from its traditional allies, or will it forge new ones? Ishiba's policies have the potential to reshape alliances in Asia. Countries like Vietnam and the Philippines might welcome Japan's leadership, especially in countering China's growing influence. However, other nations, particularly South Korea, remain cautious. Professor Park Hyun-wook of Korea University told Yonhap News, "Japan's militarization will always be met with suspicion in South Korea. Historical grievances don't just disappear because of current geopolitical needs." This delicate balance raises a critical question. Could Japan's assertive policies unite some nations while alienating others? Or worse, could it leave Japan in a precarious position with neither full support from the U.S. nor trust from its neighbors? And how will these policies affect Japan's most complex relationship, its ties with China? Japan's neighbors have long memories, and Ishiba's hawkish policies risk reopening old wounds. China, in particular, has already issued strong warnings against Japan's military expansion. In a 2024 statement covered by the Global Times, a Chinese government spokesperson said, "Japan's actions are destabilizing the region and signaling a return to its militaristic past." South Korea, too, remains wary. Polls conducted by the Korea Herald indicate that 63% of South Koreans view Japan's military policies as a threat to regional peace. This tension could escalate if Japan pursues initiatives like the Asian NATO, which some neighbors might interpret as an anti-China alliance. But what does Japan itself think about these dramatic changes? Are Ishiba's policies uniting or dividing the nation? Within Japan, Ishiba's bold moves are polarizing. Younger generations who have grown up in a more precarious geopolitical environment are increasingly supportive of a strong defense. A 2024 survey by Asahi Shimbun found that 58% of Japanese adults under 35 favor increased military spending. Older generations, however, remain deeply attached to Japan's pacifist identity. Many still see Article 9 as a sacred commitment to peace, not just a legal clause. This generational divide is playing out in heated debates across Japan, from televised political shows to university forums. As Japan grapples with these internal conflicts, what are the potential global consequences of Ishiba's vision? If Ishiba's vision becomes reality, the consequences will reverberate far beyond Japan's borders. A fully autonomous Japan could inspire other nations to challenge U.S. dominance, creating a domino effect in the Asia-Pacific. At the same time, it could provoke stronger reactions from adversaries like China and North Korea, escalating tensions in the region. Michael Green, a senior vice president at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, remarked in Foreign Policy, "A militarily independent Japan is a double-edged sword. It can stabilize Asia by deterring threats or destabilize it by fueling an arms race. The economic implications are equally significant. A stronger Japan might assert itself in global trade negotiations, pushing for agreements that reflect its interests rather than those of its traditional allies." Ishiba's rise is more than a political story. It's a challenge to the global order. As Japan steps into the spotlight, the world waits to see, will this bold move redefine Asia's future, or spark conflicts that echo across generations? We're glad you're enjoying this video. Please like and subscribe. Check out another video that is now on your screen.